We've got video in that shows an interaction between Phoenix police and a family who police say were being investigated for shoplifting. But in the end, no one was arrested, no charges were ever filed. But the family says police went too far in how they handled the situation. Matt Rodewald is live with more. Matt.
Well, John, it took police 2 minutes into this video and nearly 24 expletives before somebody finally asked a rather simple question. What did you steal? Up until then, the family says that they had no idea why they were being followed, being pulled over, or why police officers were so angry. That family is now suing the city of Phoenix for an incident that they say had some serious racial undertones.
It just seemed like he was trigger happy. He wanted to shoot someone that day.
A jarring video of a police confrontation with a young couple is making national headlines tonight over a doll that was mistakenly taken from a nearby Family Dollar store. In the first minute of the video, officers are seen with guns drawn and a total of 16 expletives are lobbed at the family.
They want you to believe that that was a lawful, policy compliant, typical police stop.
The family and supporters spoke today as they prepare legal action against the city.
They're cowards and bullies and bigots with badges and guns. We got a problem in this city, and someone's gonna end up dead.
When I tell you to do something, you do it.
I am. I'm complying with everything, sir.
The officer who initially confronts the family kicks the leg of Ames with him already in handcuffs. 30 seconds later, that same officer returns to confront the mother with her children.
When I tell you to put your baby.
It was just crazy, very scary over at a dollar store, and I would have bought that doll if I'd have knew.
There was about 12 officers out there, and they all looked at it in disgust at that guy. That one guy who was really acting up, they all looked at it in disgust at that guy, the way he was acting, over a Barbie doll.
Now, the Phoenix Police Department released this statement to us saying that they take allegations of misconduct seriously, and obviously for this reason, it's being investigated by the Professional Standards Bureau. Of course, this incident happened at the Coral Gardens apartment complex, which is in central Phoenix, bordering up to the Loop 202, right over at 32nd Street and Roosevelt. It's about 6 blocks away from where that Family Dollar store is, where everything originated. The mother is about 5 months pregnant, and they say that the vehicle that they were traveling in on that May 29th day is still impounded by the city of Phoenix. They'd like to have that back. In the meantime, supporters are planning a protest at City Council when they reconvene coming up on Tuesday. Reporting live outside of Phoenix Police Headquarters, Matt Rodewald, Fox 10 News.
A Valley couple who says Phoenix police used excessive force and threatened to shoot them during a shoplifting investigation have filed a $10 million notice of claim, indicating they plan to sue the city. Drayvon Ames and Daisha Harper went to a Family Dollar store last month near 36th Street in McDowell with their 2 young children. Former Attorney General Tom Horne, who's representing the couple, says their 4-year-old daughter took a doll from that store without their knowledge. As they drove to their babysitter's place at 32nd Street in Roosevelt, Horne says a police car pulled up without lights or sirens. He says an officer opened the driver's side door, pulled out a gun, and threatened to shoot Ames in front of their kids. Horne says another officer pointed a gun at Ames as the first officer put him on the ground, pushed his head on the pavement, and then threw him against the car, told him to spread his legs, and then kicked his legs and punched him in the back. Horne says the first officer then pointed the gun at Harper and the children, grabbed her and her baby by their necks, and pulled the child's arm. Horne says the officer put her in handcuffs and threw her face first into a patrol car after she gave the infant to a bystander. Horne says other officers arrived and put Ames in a patrol car in handcuffs for an hour and asked him if the car was stolen, which it was not.
The car was impounded with no justification. The father is now unable to work. He doesn't have a car to get to work. He was gainfully employed at a warehouse. He's limping. He cannot stand straight or carry weight. All of this is reducing his earning capacity.
The couple was not arrested and no charges were filed. The notice of claim says police committed battery, unlawful imprisonment, false arrest, infliction of emotional distress, and violation of civil rights.
The chief of Phoenix Police speaking this morning with Fox 10 for the first time since video of her officers drawing guns on a family sparking some serious controversy and sending shockwaves all through social media.
Yeah, all the way through the world. In fact, the world's been watching this viral video, and an internal investigation is underway. Fox 10's Justin Lum is live at Phoenix Police Headquarters with the latest.
Matt, Linda, Chief Williams not only sending an apology to the community, but also sending a message to her department to stay professional at all times. Meanwhile, speeding up the process of getting body cameras to every precinct.
When I tell you to do something, you do it.
I am. I'm complying with everything, sir.
Millions have watched Phoenix police officer Christopher Meyer force 22-year-old Drayvon Ames against a cop car, kicking his right leg while shouting profanities at the father of two.
I apologize to the community. I apologize for the action of our employees out at the scene.
Chief Jeri Williams apologizing for the incident that started with allegations of a 4-year-old girl stealing a toy from the Family Dollar. Ames and his fiancée Aisha Harper are suing the city of Phoenix for $10 million, claiming Phoenix police violated their rights. According to Officer Meyer's report, he says Harper became verbally abusive when he told her to put her 1-year-old child on the ground. Meyer fails to mention holding the pregnant mother and her 2 girls at gunpoint. Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego with reaction to the video.
We want our residents to feel confident in the department, feel safe here. We need to have, and have been having, a dialogue about how we can do better.
And Chief Williams rolling out body cameras for officers faster than initially planned.
It was going to take 30 days to get each precinct up and running. We have a little bit over 600 cameras out there now in 2 precincts. We're starting with our 3rd precinct out of 6 tomorrow.
The African American Christian Clergy Coalition released a statement. It reads in part, the AACCC supports law-abiding peace officers who we believe are the majority of Phoenix PD. However, there is a destructive and dangerous systematic cancer in the department, which Chief Williams inherited when she became chief 3 years ago. We are grateful to God for her integrity, experience, transparency, and courage to continue to pull the covers back instead of sweeping corruption and prejudice under the rug. And the mayor has called for a community meeting to take place Tuesday night at 6. Chief Williams will be there as well at Pilgrim Rest Baptist Church to listen to concerns.
It's the arrest that continues to make national headlines tonight. A Phoenix police officer caught on camera holding a family at gunpoint, yelling, swearing at them after they were accused of shoplifting.
The family has since filed a $10 million claim against the city of Phoenix. And it's put the entire Phoenix Police Department, including Chief Jeri Williams, under the microscope. And tonight, the chief and Mayor Kate Gallego hosted a public meeting to address the concerns of citizens. These are live pictures from inside that meeting that just ended inside Pilgrim Rest Baptist Church. It just wrapped up minutes ago.
Several hundred people signed up to speak tonight and offer suggestions to police. The young family at the center of all this also attending this meeting. Fox 10's Matt Rodewald spoke with them. He joins us now live with more. Matt?
Well, John and Christina, as you can hear and as you saw, it is starting to let out. The meeting ending just a few minutes ago. People are starting to exit the church and head to the parking lot. They're being met by a smattering of protesters against police. And, of course, there's some conversations that are happening about what happened inside that meeting. There was a lot of anger inside the meeting, a lot of passion, stories of police encounters gone wrong. Drayvon Ames and his family, of course, they had a chance to speak to the chief and to the mayor face-to-face for the very first time. And after that, they left the church. We learned tonight more about it in another encounter with Officer Christopher Meyer. That's the man lacing profanities in that viral video. And we learned just how desperately the black community wants to fix this issue in Phoenix once and for all. The message was unity, including a moment when Reverend Jared Maupin asked to speak.
What I'm here today to say is this. No, it's not about me.
The crowd of more than 1,000 people waited in long lines and squeezed inside the Pilgrim Rest Baptist Church to hear stories of police encounters.
And I also want to let you know, Chief, and I also want to let you know, Mayor, that I tried twice to file a complaint through the Professional Standards Bureau, so he does not do that conduct again, and you guys ignored me.
Dante Patterson talked about his encounter with Officer Christopher Meyer, the one who was lacing profanities to Drayvon Ames and his family in the viral video.
Overly aggressive. At first, he first approached me and said, "Hey, were you escorted out?" I said, "No, I wasn't." But then the second time, he said, "You were." He was very aggressive. "You were escorted out. You lied to me," stuff like that. "I can do whatever I want because I have a badge," and stuff like that. Yeah.
Real change doesn't start with the police department. Real change starts with our community.
Several people in the one-sided room walked out when Chief Jeri Williams tried to address the crowd about how to move forward. But that was long after Ames and his pregnant fiancée left the church. Were you happy to even at least see her face-to-face tonight?
I'm not happy if nothing is done.
And back here live, as you see live pictures, again, the church emptying out. Folks heading into the parking lot. People were still walking into the meeting and trying to get a seat as late as 8 o'clock at night. So this line, of course, took a long time to finally disperse. That was long after Drayvon Ames and his family had left for good. City Council is set to meet tomorrow. We expect protests there as well. And we'll see how this moves forward as the issue continues to drag Phoenix across national headlines. Reporting tonight outside of the Pilgrim Rest Baptist Church, Matt Rodewald, Fox 10 News.
Tensions reaching a boiling point in the Phoenix City Council chambers over a story that is still making national headlines. A family accused of shoplifting held at gunpoint by Phoenix police officers. Today, hundreds of people showing up to make their voice heard in the council chambers. Justin Lump has been covering this all day, and he joins us live with that story tonight. Justin.
Mark, this video that's transformed into a $10 million claim against the city, it's really bringing a lot of people out who say Phoenix PD needs change. And it appears last night's community meeting did not satisfy them because many of these people came here this afternoon, and the Ames family leading the charge, making it official with the citizens petition to get the 2 officers seen on that video fired.
It's sick that they're still behind desk duty and they're not fired or they haven't been suspended. Everyone in America sees it.
1 week after the viral video changed his life,
I tell you to do something, you do it.
Drayvon Ames continues to make demands, his community following suit.
You people don't get it. You work for us. We don't work for you. You work for us. And then you take our money and you reward people that shoot our children down in the street.
Dozens calling for Christopher Meyer and a second officer accused of excessive force to be fired. Also urging council to vote no on a budget of more than $700 million fueling Phoenix PD and forming a civilian oversight board. Councilmember Sal DeCiccio backing the blue.
You're anarchists and you're out to destroy these individuals. You're out to destroy our city.
It does feel like you do not feel the fear we have. I've only been here for a year and I am terrified.
Allegations of stolen underwear and a doll and how officers handled the situation have once again sparked a debate of trust between law enforcement and citizens. Ames and his family, the face of a national issue. He says cell phone video saved their lives.
By the way it was going, you probably thought you was going to see a 1-year-old, a 4-year-old, a young father, and a pregnant mother get killed by seeing that video.
And the petition put together by Reverend Jared Maupin, it says the city has 15 days to either fire these 2 officers as well as suspend the officers involved as well on that case without pay, or retrain them or demote them. They want to see this on the agenda in 2 weeks. Live in Phoenix, Justin Lum, Fox 10 News.
That's Dante Patterson on the right of the screen with Officer Christopher Meyer coming up on his side. You can see Officer Meyer point and shoot spray at Patterson, dropping him to his knees.
I did not pose a threat to him.
Patterson says he had a minor issue with other people inside the park that night before he was asked to leave, and insists he followed Officer Meyer's instructions the entire time.
I didn't come at him disrespectful. I was telling him to calm down. I was trying to de-escalate him.
This is the police report filed by Officer Meyer, who was off duty but in uniform that night. Meyer wrote that Patterson turned toward him in a fighting stance and stepped toward him, placing Officer Meyer in reasonable apprehension of imminent physical injury. So he deployed the spray. This video does not show Patterson turning toward Officer Meyer. right before the spray was used.
The report is falsified. He said that I came at him with the threatening gesture, which I didn't. Have witnesses there who gave statements, and he falsified the witness statements as well.
Patterson claims the report is one-sided and that his complaints about Meyer to the department fell on deaf ears. This is him speaking directly to the police chief and mayor at last night's town hall meeting.
That I tried twice to file a complaint through the Professional Standards Bureau, so he does not do that conduct again, and you guys ignored me.
Dante Patterson was originally facing several charges, including aggravated assault on an officer, but that charge did not stick. He ended up with a misdemeanor charge of disorderly conduct. This is the response from the Phoenix Police Department. They say this incident was reviewed by the Professional Standards Bureau and no misconduct was identified. That Patterson was escorted out by employees for disruptive behavior, then illegally re-entered the property. As he was being escorted out again, he began cursing and flailing his arms, then turned toward the officer with clenched fists in a fighting stance. He was then sprayed and taken into custody, and a loaded .45 caliber pistol was found in his waistband.
Emotions running high once again at a Phoenix City Council meeting.
Dozens of people gathered to show their support for Phoenix police this time, while critics of the department also made their voices heard.
This comes after a heated community and council meetings last week. After that video surfaced, it's gone viral of police pointing guns and yelling profanities at a couple during a shoplifting investigation last month. Fox 10's Justin Lum live at Phoenix Police Headquarters tonight with more on the story. Justin.
John, Kerry, a totally different meeting compared to just last week. One that was anti-police became pro-police this afternoon with the support in the room, including one dispatcher who says she received threats over the phone when that video everyone has seen now went viral.
Item passes 8-1.
The city of Phoenix approving a contract worth $425,000 to replenish ammunition and less lethal weapons for Phoenix PD, with a crowd of supporters backing the blue, including Councilmember Sal DeCiccio.
One, I believe that there's a false narrative occurring right now that these police officers are bad, and it's always qualified with, well, we love our officers,
But this viral video continues to be seen, showing Phoenix police officers holding a black family at gunpoint while yelling obscenities after responding to reports of shoplifting.
When this video came out, we sat there in our dispatch center and we took calls from these people threatening to kill our family. Our family. I did nothing. I did nothing to anybody. My family did nothing.
Dispatcher Andrea Max emotional at the podium.
I've never been called so many names in my life, and I'm a dispatcher, for Christ's sake.
We do have a problem. You could watch those videotapes, and you could see going up to African-American citizens that way and treating them that way.
Newly elected District 8 Council member Carlos Garcia agrees. He solely voted no on the item to get police more ammo and riot control agents.
After last week, there was no way I would have voted for anything to continue to support the police until we fix the issues we have.
And Council member Sal DeCiccio released a statement regarding the investigation of those officers seen on that video. He says, in part, individual officers are about to get screwed by city management. No politician's career is more valuable than our officers. They aren't disposable for political reasons. I've requested our police to document all conversations with management and politicians regarding these recent cases. Back out here live also, next Tuesday, Mayor Kate Gallego has called for a special meeting to consider a civilian review board with oversight of Phoenix PD.
First on Fox, the Phoenix City Council and police chief holding a meeting today to consider policy changes within the police department.
This comes in the wake of widespread outrage after a video surfaced showing officers pointing guns, yelling profanities at a family accused of shoplifting.
Fox 10's Matt Galka is live tonight with more. Matt.
Carrie and Christina, today this meeting started at 2:30 and just wrapped up about 10 minutes ago. And we heard from Phoenix Chief of Police Jeri Williams. She outlined multiple plans for changes to the department, pretty well received by members on the council and members in the audience. But the family at the center of that viral video said those changes simply weren't enough.
I feel like they don't see us. They don't see us as being human. They don't care what goes on
everybody in America seeing what happened, and no one's saying that's okay.
The family at the center of a viral video calling into question Phoenix Police Department's response to a shoplifting call didn't agree with what they heard from city leaders Tuesday.
Some people want to paint this as an us versus them issue. However, it is much more vast and complex than that narrative allows. It is not two groups with opposing views. We are a city of 1.7 million people who all have views formed by their own life experiences. This issue will not be solved overnight.
The City Council heard from Police Chief Jeri Williams on an action plan for changes in the department, including a full rollout of body cameras at the end of August, new field training with help from ASU, and new documentation on when officers draw their weapons. The council also voted on trying to find a new early intervention system, software that could raise red flags for bad policing before it happens, and they voted on more public polling about policing. There were some outbursts, but the meeting itself remained calmer than recent community meetings, with both sides for change and backing the blue well represented. There was also a lengthy discussion about the possible creation of a citizen review board, an item that wasn't voted on this evening.
We already have a civilian review board in the city. We already have a use of force and a personnel review board. We have review boards. We have already told them about body cameras. We've already talked to them about sensitivity training and de-escalation training and diversity training. We have talked about two-man patrols. We've talked about, every single thing that they're talking about came up in their internal report in 2015 and 16.
And the Phoenix City Council says they'll come back in September to hear more about the possible creation of a citizens review board. They'll hear from city staff at that time. Now back to that family and the Phoenix Police Department dispute. Now the department disputes the family's narrative of the events, saying there was more of a struggle in resisting a possible arrest before that cell phone video starts rolling. The family says that they'll stop short of nothing other than those officers in that video getting fired. We're live tonight, Matt Gelka, Fox 10 News.
First on Fox, newly released body cam video from Tempe police shows the arrest of a 22-year-old Dravon Ames back in October while admitting to driving under the influence before crashing his car.
Now, this arrest happened 7 months before that video of Phoenix police holding Ames and his family at gunpoint after a shoplifting investigation. Fox 10's Justin Lum joins us live tonight after speaking to Ames about this new footage that we're seeing. Justin, what did he have to say?
Well, Carrie, Christina, first off, this body cam video shows Ames getting tased by police after appearing to resist arrest and admitting to dabbing, which means smoking concentrated marijuana. So I did speak to Ames, and he says despite pleading guilty to DUI last month, he was never high at the time of the crash. He says this is another attempt to hurt his case against Phoenix PD.
Why are you standing in the middle of the road?
I took my first dab with my white buddies at Amazon. We work at Amazon. We were just smoking. And I don't smoke weed at all.
October 31st, 2018, just before 5:30 in the morning. Body cameras capture the moments after Tempe police say Dravon Ames stopped his car in the middle of South Rural Road and East University Drive.
So what happened?
My car just stopped. It just stopped on me. I didn't get gas, and I'm driving. I don't even know where the I'm at right now.
You didn't get hit? You didn't hit anybody?
No, I didn't hit anyone.
But police say Ames left his car in gear before getting out and running off. His car ended up crashing into a stopped car in the opposite lane. Police say Ames showed signs of impairment.
No, hey, do not detain me.
Then a struggle ensues between Ames and officers. Tempe police charged Ames with 1 count of DUI and 2 counts of aggravated assault on an officer. He pled guilty to the DUI drug charge last month.
Because I wasn't high at that time.
You were not high?
No, I wasn't high at that time of the incident.
But now Ames is saying he was not high at the time of the crash. He claims his car ran out of gas, and as he tried to push it to a gas station, it hit another car. So you never ran from the car like witnesses or police say in the report?
No, I never ran from the car. I just tried to push it up and it was rolling down.
Ames says the release of this body cam video is another attack on his character. He shared these images of the injuries he says he sustained during that arrest, including a broken nose.
I don't think what they're trying to do as assassinate my character is working, because that's not who I am. I know who I am, and people in the community know who I am. That's why they're so outraged.
And Tempe police says one officer suffered an orthopedic injury and was off work for some time. Ames's legal counsel tells me they plan to file a claim against the city.
Slips handed out at Phoenix Police today, 2 of which involved a couple of controversial incidents.
One of the fired officers, Dave Swick, was under investigation over his social media posts that the department later considered to be offensive. But the most high-profile firing involved an officer in a very high-profile traffic stop.
A Phoenix couple accused of shoplifting taken into custody at gunpoint, and the video of that incident went viral. Well, tonight we're hearing from that couple. Jennifer Martinez joins us live with more on that. Jennifer.
Well, the family in that viral video said that the firing of this police officer is a sigh of relief after months of anticipation and doubt.
I actually think that it's a step in the right direction to change.
Drayvon Ames and his family relieved tonight after learning that Phoenix police officer Chris Mayer has been fired.
I think I might be able to get a good night's rest for once, knowing that he's fired and it won't happen to no one else.
Today is a very important day in that the ringleader, Officer Christopher Meyer, the one who I think we're safe to say was the chief brutalizer and violator of civil rights, certainly for Mr. Ames, was summarily terminated.
The now viral video happened back in May after the Ames family was pulled over after being accused of shoplifting. Police officers are seen pulling a gun out on Drayvon's pregnant fiance and 2-year-old child. Initially, the Disciplinary Review Board recommended a 6-week unpaid suspension. The chief said that wasn't enough. As for the second officer in the video, he was given a written reprimand.
He should have been fired too. And it shouldn't have took this long for for him to be fired or the other officers.
Phoenix City Councilman Sal DeCiccio says the firing is all for political reasons and believes that the police chief was under pressure to fire the officer.
They're out there to go after our police department, and the police brass basically came down and wanted to use this as an example to show that they're doing something. Except this something is now going to cost the taxpayers millions of dollars because people are now going to be pouring lawsuits against us for something that is unjustifiable.
The city of Phoenix is facing sticker shock with a staggering number of high-dollar lawsuits or notices of claim which come before a lawsuit is ever filed.
Now, most of them involve the police department or the fire department, and currently they reach into the tens of millions of dollars. Brian Webb, live now with a closer look. Brian, I guess every city battles some of this. Is Phoenix an outlier, though?
Well, I can't tell you that for sure, John, but there are plenty of lawsuits against the city filed every year. Now, over the past few years, nearly $15 million has been paid out, 10 of it going to the family of a little girl dragged by a police cruiser. The city is still facing at least 5 major lawsuits with nearly $100 million of taxpayer money on the line. The woman from this infamous spinning helicopter rescue's planning to sue the city for $2 million. 74-year-old Katie Metro claiming this calamity cost her $300,000 in medical bills, not to mention taking an emotional toll. At first, firefighters didn't think much of it.
As dramatic as that looks, she suffered no ill effect from that spin other than being a little bit dizzy.
When I tell you to do something, you do it. I am.
Then there's the $10 million claim for this police stop caught on cell phone video. Shouts and weapons directed at Drayvon Ames and his wife and child after a shoplifting call. They say they feared for their lives.
He just seemed like he was trigger happy. He wanted to shoot someone that day.
This fire truck collision that killed a young couple and their child at 29th Avenue in Bethany home. That family is seeking $25 million.
It's like a dream. I just hope I wake up and to be here again, but that's not going to happen.
A $50 million claim filed this year after Edward Brown was shot and paralyzed by a Phoenix police officer in 2018. Officers were trying to break up what looked like a drug deal and say Brown tried to grab an officer's gun. And $6 million sought by the family of Jacob Harris. He was shot in the back after being caught committing several armed robberies.
I can finally go to Jacob's grave and mourn him because I did all the fighting that I need to do.
The city released a statement to me today saying in part that each claim is handled on an individual basis, that the city maintains a self-insurance fund to handle these claims, and that city departments evaluate future training based on previous incidents and experience. Like I mentioned, there are hundreds of claims against the city each year. Most of them are eventually dismissed, and the payouts that do happen are usually far less than the original claim.